Hello and welcome to Warcraft Daily for today, the 5th of December 2013. Today's show's a little bit late, it's 11 PM, but yeah, sorry about that, I was kind of busy. In the day's news though, we have the cast of the movie, and just one or two little tidbits that I found out after I made yesterday evening's video. Some stuff about Karazhan, the PTR, and then a little bit of talk from the blues about dev communication, and then I'll round off the show with some very good questions and answers. So first of all, the movie cast. Well, I do have a full video on this, so if you are very interested in it, in the movie, do go check that out. But just the short of it is that Ben Foster, Toby Cabell, I think that's how you pronounce his surname, Robert Kaczynski, Travis Fimmel, and Paula Patton all have roles, and that they are in the final stages of getting Dominic Cooper. Now, one thing to note actually, which I thought was interesting, Robert Kaczynski, I don't know why, that's funny, Kaczynski is a surname I have never really had to pronounce before. But I know, it sounds pretty awesome. Anyway, he is quite the WoW player, having a total of 463 days played. That probably, well, hell, it's probably 462 days, or 5, or whatever, I don't know. I can't even number, it's too late. But anyway, the guy is big into WoW, and overall this cast, they seem like lots of very talented actors and people who are really good at their job that just haven't had that giant break. Now, I think a lot of people in the video I did last night sort of misunderstood me. I was saying that I think it's interesting that with the giant budget of the film, they decided to forego having massive star power in someone like Colin Farrell or a big name. Now, honestly, I think the movie's probably going to end up being better without some of those people, because we actually get to see the characters and not the actors. Good example is, say, Mission Impossible. That's not Ethan whatever he's called, that's Tom Cruise. That's the sort of thing that happens. So, yeah, just like to the people who did sort of not really get what I meant, star power is big for getting in audiences, and I think it really seems to be quite exaggerated in America, that sort of phenomenon, but it's certainly true everywhere else. But I think that overall, for the quality of the movie, going with very, very, very talented actors that are perhaps not as giantly known is definitely the right move for the quality of the movie, and ultimately that's what matters. In terms of some of these guys, like what they're in, I think Paula Patton, people who have seen Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol will know her from that. I've seen people say that she will play, I've seen both people say Garona and people say Tyrande. So yeah, it could definitely be both. Well, no, okay, not both, but not at the same time. But I think Tyrande's probably more likely. Like, I suppose you have to acknowledge the fact that if you are getting a very attractive lady, you're probably not going to make her a half-orc. I know that sounds like sort of sexist and stuff, but that's the industry we're in, so I'd say there's a good chance she'll be Tyrande. I'm not really too sure what her acting chops are like, but Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol was apparently quite a good movie. I didn't see it myself, and a lot of people have said positive things about her, so I think that's probably a good thing. Other people, we have Travis Fimmel. He plays the main Viking in Vikings. It's still a show I need to watch, but it's very well regarded, especially considering it's only coming off its first season, so that's definitely something to watch out for. Kaczynski is quite the WoW player, so I'd say he will probably understand where a lot of the things of the movie are coming from, and I'd say that would really, that would just sort of help him enhance his acting ability. I've heard a lot of people say that Ben Foster is extremely talented. I think he was the guy in 3:10 to Yuma, which was a very good movie from what I hear. But yeah, overall, it seems like a very talented cast to have, and I'm sure they'll all do a pretty good job. Now next, Karazhan. They're still dicking around with this, and they have renamed it to Medivh Presents Chessmaster Illustrious Edition, which of course means the Karazhan phase name has been changed, which actually means absolutely nothing. A lot of people are going to say, oh, this whole Karazhan thing is a hoax. No, I mean, there's still that phase change that they have in the PTR, and that's got to be there for a reason. Right now, those that are just having a little bit of fun with the data miners, and that's something I don't really have much of a problem with. Other PTR things include cross-realm raid browser being updated to have world bosses and flexible raids, but on the whole, not that much. It doesn't, I don't know, they haven't actually released any or announced any major content upgrades, sort of that sort of thing for patch 5.4.2. It seems more like we're going to get this cross-realm raid browser, maybe one or two other little systems tweaks or changes, maybe some balancing things, but not really any major content. Perhaps whatever's going on in Karazhan will bleed through into 5.4.2, and if so, I'd be very, very happy. Now, they also were talking about the topic of dev communication, and a lot of people were very worried, myself included, that once Ghostcrawler was gone, we would sort of lose a lot of our blue communication. Now, while there's other people like, say, Halinka that were doing quite a lot of talk via Twitter, Ghostcrawler really took the biscuit. He was the best at it, by far. He gave people who asked legitimate questions really good answers. He would often go into decent amounts of detail, even giving us some nice solid numbers, and he was just fantastic overall. For someone like me doing a show in World of Warcraft, Ghostcrawler was a bloody miracle. It was so good. I would just have constantly things to talk about in shows. Well, there is some good news. First of all, they said that dev communication definitely will not die. Honestly, I think that it's nearly company policy that the lead developers, or sort of the head honchos, the important people, do have some input with the community. I think it's very important from the perspective of trying to get your community actually invested in the Blizzard team. So we're nearly treating their developers not as just developers, but as figureheads, as near celebrities. And Ghostcrawler was a bloody celebrity, if you think about it, and the criteria that usually would define a celebrity. And that's very important for Blizzard. I know it is important for marketing as well, but I think it's good for a company to be seen to be really listening to the audience. And, listening in a way that makes sense, just not just pandering, and they definitely did that very well, in my opinion. So the good news is that as far as Ghostcrawler's initial main capacity, i.e. he was the big Twitter guy, Celestian seems to have filled that void, and so far he's doing an excellent job. He's posting lots of numbers, lots of detailed tweets, and in general just doing a great job with the whole community interaction thing. Hopefully this will continue. As for Ghostcrawler himself, I think he is, he's renamed his account's username, was it something Occupy G Street or something? I don't know, it's a cool enough little handle. I suppose it's probably just a placeholder until we find out what his new project is. But, yeah, it's going to be weird. He's now Greg Street, not Ghostcrawler. That's kind of sad. Anyway, let's move on to some of the Q&A to round the show off. So the first question comes from The Professional, who, is a very professional guy, and he says, I'm confused on how powerful our players are themselves. 10 to 25 of our heroes defeated Ragnaros in his own realm at full power, and even Deathwing, who was an aspect. So my confusion is when people say that we are out of some bad guy's league. Honestly, as players, a level 90 is much stronger than Illidan, who is extremely powerful in his own right, and even the Lich King, so why wouldn't be able to fight Sagaris? I think a lot of people underestimate how powerful we as players are, and I would love to hear your opinion on just how strong our characters are. Well, I think there's a definite disparity between actual in-game power and lore power. In terms of lore power, really, these guys, I mean, okay, we know for an example, Arthas was stronger than Illidan because they had a fight once, but is Deathwing stronger than Illidan? It's hard to sort of piece these things together, and really, expansions happen not based on the tier of difficulty of the enemy, they happen based on what makes sense for the game at the time and what they think is the most fun, or what just the next project or the next sort of setting that the team wants to go on to. It's probably just as possible that they may have went on to, I don't know, Wrath just after, or Cataclysm, say, just after Burning Crusade. It doesn't really matter, it doesn't mean that much. Blizzard have always said that gameplay first, lore second, and they want to bring us the content we find the most interesting at the time. Now, of course, there is definitely a bit of a correlation in that you could argue, say, Arthas was stronger than, more powerful than Illidan. We know this because in a one-on-one duel, Arthas won, and he actually nearly killed Illidan. So that's one thing we know. We also can pretty much assume the Deathwing is a bit more powerful than Arthas, though depending on how Arthas uses his necromantic power, that could go either way, I suppose. And Garrosh, well, Garrosh I don't think he'd be as powerful as Deathwing. I don't think he'd even be as powerful as Arthas. Unless he was in, well, perhaps the super jacked up Yasharaj mode, but I don't really think that's a decision that they made based on, well, it makes lower sense for this character to be more powerful than this character. Nah, I just think they do what they do because of story being interesting. And as for Sagaris himself, he is the strongest, from what we know, he is the strongest possible entity there is. There is nothing more powerful than Sagaris, essentially. The Titan, he is stronger than the Titans. He was their first, I forget the rank, but he was their first sort of lead soldier dude, I suppose, of the Pantheon, and he was the greatest and the strongest. That is stuff that's been heavily hinted at all the way along through lore. So, as for people saying, why can't we fight Sagaris? We might be able to dent him a little bit, but we won't be able to kill him. If we can't, say, fully kill Jaden, there is no way that we can kill Sagaris, and from a lore point of view, they're not going to jump straight to the head of the snake when they still have plot ties and story sort of hooks and things going on with all the other high-ranking members of the Burning Legion. So I think, yeah, our players are very powerful, and it's important to realize that the power of our players does not necessarily correlate with our level. I think that overall, yes, we definitely are getting stronger. That's one of the things about, the lesson of Pandaria, that our races and stuff are stronger because of each other, not despite of each other. But yeah, like opponent to opponent wise, I think that maybe they're getting a little bit harder over time, but it's not much to think about, I guess. So yeah, still, we're all pretty damn badass in my opinion. Next is from Sade Games, yeah. Why don't I just choose the easy way to pronounce it? Sade Games, well, the question is, what is your favourite WoW boss and why? Also, who would you like to see as a boss in the future? Well, my favourite boss... That's a really hard one, actually. I can say, well, first of all, a lot of fights that I enjoyed. In Wrath of the Lich King, I really enjoyed, well, let's see, I liked Sindragosa, I know this sounds terrible, I think it was like a Fester got a rot face. It's not a boss that I put in my favourite boss ever thing, but I just found it to be fun. I think Sindragosa was really fun, mainly because I have a lot of memories of that boss. We were stuck on it for about 2 weeks, and we were just constantly bashing our heads against it, and then everything went perfectly at once. We got a great kill, and it was just really fun. Let's see, Arthas is also a boss that I am overall very positive about. I really enjoyed him as a fight. Other things in that expansion, honestly, I haven't played them at level for such a long time, it's hard to say. Cataclysm, I'm going to say none of the bosses that I did were ones that would necessarily be outstanding to me, but do bear in mind that I did not raid Firelands. As for Mists of Pandaria, well, Mogashan Vaults I thought was... what do you call him, the big dragon dude? I thought he was fun, but the rest of the place was just mediocre. It wasn't fantastic. And Heart of Fear, essentially I actively disliked most of the bosses in there. Not because they were ultra hard or anything like that, just because I didn't think they were fun. Now moving into Throne of Thunder, I really enjoyed Jinrock. I thought he was a great entry boss. I think Horadon was very boring once you got him down, which was a pity. Now Tortos, I enjoyed Tortos, but that was... Oh, Council as well. Council I thought were just meh. I really enjoyed Tortos, but that's because I was the guy kicking the shells, and it was really fun. Durmu, I found that to be a fun fight. Just providing all of the stuff was kind of handled correctly with the maze. Primordius is actually probably one of my most favourite, my favourite fights in there. I just thought there was something great about the whole sense of just rushed, sort of, with him. I don't know, he was fun. Other things, I thought Lei Shen was a pretty good final boss. And yeah, I don't really have too many opinions on the rest of the guys in Throne of Thunder. As for Siege of Orgrimmar, well, Immersius was boring. I mean, he was an intro boss. I don't think he was as good an intro boss as, say, your man Jinrock was. But if we move on, Protectors I thought was kind of meh. Shav Pride I really enjoyed. Norishen I really enjoyed. Galakras I kind of enjoyed, but it's not something I'd rank that well. Iron Juggernaut was kind of boring to me. Kor'kron Dark Shaman was fun, but not enjoyable. The same thing goes for Nazgrim. I thought he was just fucking boring as hell. Who the hell's after Nazgrim? You know, it's been like a month since I've been into Siege of Orgrimmar. I've just been so busy with normal stuff. I'm going to say overall my favourite boss is Arthas. Just the way the lore was done, and then going into the actual fight. At the time, it was fucking hard. It was really fun. And I really enjoyed it. So yeah, Arthas is my ultimate answer. Also, the other part of the question is, what would you like to see as a boss in the future? Well, that's a hard one. Of course, I want to see full-on Kil'jaeden as a boss. I want to see Sagaris as a boss. I want to see N'Zoth as a boss. They're the main ones. I want to... If the Titans... I think there could be another corrupt Titan. I think that would be kind of cool. And I'd like to fight him. I think that would be kind of fun. As for other things, I mean... In terms of lore hooks, we're running out of pre-established ones, kind of, in terms of like things that we can just go and fight right now. I guess there's the Legion and the Old Gods, and that's kind of it. I mean, we've burnt through Arthas, we've burnt through Illidan, we've burnt through Deathwing. Like, a lot of the big lore characters were kind of got rid of rather quickly. So yeah, I'm going to say more Legion, and that kind of thing. Perhaps there could be something really cool hiding down in the South Seas. I'm not really sure, but anyway, I think it's time to end the show. As you can probably tell by the really bad quality of my commentary this time. I'm just really tired. I want to get this done because I spent 8 hours today in Eclipse and Visual Studio and my head hurts and I need to do more of it after the show. So yeah, fun times. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And I'll see you tomorrow.